Hello, everybody. So this next part is about Article B. So this video will help you just read Article B. Just like the last video, you can just read along as I read aloud. You don't have to watch the video. You can just listen, but it's up to you because it might be easier to take notes if you just listen to the video. So without further delay, I will start. Article B, Code Switching to Communicate or to Fit In by Jacqueline DeMarco and Natalie Morris. Code switching can come in many forms, but the basic meaning is the quote, the alternating or mixed use of two or more languages, especially within the same discourse. But that definition only looks at code switching from a bilingual point of view. You'll see bilingual code switching happen in families, schools, or other communities where members speak multiple languages. If you've never belonged to such a community, you're likely to have seen it in films and television. Frequently in the media, code switching is used to show heritage or culture. You may see a Chinese American family switch between speaking Chinese to English, or an African American character talk differently to their friends than they do at work. So far, code switching sounds pretty harmless, and it can be. It's understandable that you won't be cursing in front of your grandma at the dinner table like you may when speaking to your friends. Where it becomes problematic is when you look at code switching from a political angle. Code switching can also be used to modify one's behavior, appearance, etc., to adapt to different social norms. Code switching in order to fit into social norms could mean speaking in a language or dialect that is more socially approved. Are there words you use at home that you would never use at school? Chances are that you've code switched a few times in your life at least. Generally, code switching is an advantageous skill that can be used to fit into certain social and professional environments. In many ways, people can change their language to bond with others, increase trust, and appear more educated or authoritative. Perhaps you want to communicate while traveling, or you want your teacher to think you're a good student. There are many scenarios in everyday life where we code switch. While code switching can be a very advantageous skill, the necessity of it can come from a very damaging place. People of color may utilize code switching to mask their heritage or better fit in. Because we live in a country where white culture is dominant, people of color may feel pressured to speak in a way that conforms to society. The pressure to conform can be stressful, alienating, and damaging. Chandra D.L. Waring, assistant professor of sociology and race and ethnic studies at University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, who studies code switching, found that people who code switched could feel they were caught in the act, as if they were witnessed speaking differently in certain scenarios. One participant in the study told Waring that he is perpetually self-conscious about code switching out of fear that someone could witness his behavior and question his authenticity. Frequently, code switching can be mentally taxing. It can be exhausting and demoralizing to feel as though you have to hide or adjust parts of who you are. In fact, language is just one part of the concept. The wider understanding of code switching now includes any behavior to fit a new set of rules, and that is not limited to speech. For example, you would speak to your boss differently than you would your friend. You might shake their hand rather than high five. You might wear different clothes in their presence. There are different social rules behind these interactions. People of color feel the need to code switch in more situations than white people because the unwritten rules of many social situations are dictated by white experiences. A study last year found that Black and Hispanic people are more likely than their white counterparts to say they feel the need to change the way they express themselves when they're around people with different racial and ethnic backgrounds. Because dominant culture is white, whiteness has been baked into institutions as natural, normal, and legitimate, explains Chandra D.L. Waring from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. So there's much more incentive for people of color to code switch, to adapt to the dominant culture, to improve their prospects. White people rarely, if ever, feel the same pressure in their daily lives. This leads to unequal expectations between white people and people of color. Code switching is a fact of life for everyone and can be an effective way to navigate different social situations. However, some people, especially people of color, may feel pressured to code switch to conceal parts of their identity. People have a need for self-expression, but professional spaces like school and work also need standard norms and expectations. How should both needs be met?